Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of UA Eats. I'm UA and I am finally back in New York. I was abroad for a while. I was in Scotland and London and then Beijing, China, and yeah, it's been a crazy month. It's been busy and I got sick twice. Once abroad, and then when I got back, shortly after getting back, I went to a social event and I caught COVID, so I've been out of commission for a bit, but no worries, I'm feeling much better now, well enough now to go out and work again, and if there's one thing that being sick does is really work up an appetite, and you guys know me that I can't go too long without eating steak. So today we're gonna be eating a place that I've wanted to review for a long time, Cut by Wolfgang Puck. Now many of you may think, Wolfgang Puck? Didn't you already review a Wolfgang's Steakhouse? But nope, that's not it. What we reviewed was Wolfgang's Steakhouse, opened by Wolfgang Zwiener, a former employee of Peter Luger Steakhouse. Wolfgang's, by the way, is an excellent steakhouse and I highly recommend it. But Cut is opened by Wolfgang Puck, the name that most people think of when they think of the name Wolfgang in the food industry. And while Wolfgang's Steakhouse is pretty good, I hear great things about this Cut place too. Some of you guys have recommended it and said that it's one of the best steakhouses in the city. And you know, Wolfgang Puck, his reputation precedes him, so I definitely want to check it out. Especially considering that they have a pretty generous looking, well, I guess not that generous, 50 bucks, but can't really expect too much, especially here in FiDi. But for 50 bucks, they have like a 3-course lunch special here, which I kind of want to try. But of course, I've been burned by lunch specials before, so I may also try one of their steaks a la carte as well. Let's go check this place out, why don't we? Hey guys, now before we proceed with the rest of the video, I just want to thank the sponsor of this video, Good Chop. Now Good Chop offers fully customizable boxes of high quality meat and seafood delivered straight to your door and at your set schedule. Everything is vacuum sealed and flash frozen at the peak of freshness, so all you need to do is throw everything into the fridge and thaw whenever you want to eat. Now, as stated earlier, you're getting high quality meat and seafood, and there's no hormones or antibiotics ever. And another thing that's great about Good Chop is that Good Chop sources everything from right here in the USA. You'll be getting meat and seafood sourced exclusively from American farms and fisheries. Now, what I like about Good Chop is that their selection of meats and seafoods are pretty good and pretty high quality. And I don't know about you guys, but I feel like when you go to the supermarket to look for proteins, I feel like the selections of meats and seafoods can be kind of sus. With Good Chop, I like that all the meats and seafoods I got were all really fresh and really good quality stuff. I particularly like their steak selection, particularly their ribeye steak. The steak was well marbled and it had good beefy flavor, which meant that it was good quality meat and sourced well. Go to goodchop.com/YouTube and use my code UAEats120 or click the link in the caption below to get $120 off across your first 4 boxes. Again, that's goodchop.com/YouTube and use my code UAEats120 or click the link in the caption below to get $120 off across your first 4 boxes. And now, back to our video. Alright guys, so we are inside Cut by Wolfgang Puck here in the financial district. I also just got both menus. They originally just gave me the standard menu, but I also asked for the lunch menu as well. Just some quick words about the restaurant here. Super, super beautiful and modern appearance on the inside. Like, you really get a good vibe on the inside. The music is not too loud. Like, sometimes these super nice in a modern way restaurants, the music is blaring and way too loud and you can't even hear yourself think, let alone anyone who's eating with you. But here it's like the perfect volume, and it's also trendy music but not too obnoxious. So far, I mean, this is the first Wolfgang Puck restaurant I've ever eaten at, but so far I gotta say that the guy has good taste when it comes to style and design, or at least he hires the right interior designers. Quick look at the menus. So the menu is actually relatively small, not super large, but as we can see, very, very standard to your New York steakhouse. A raw bar, caviar and oysters, starters with your, you know, your typical items such as Caesar salad, wedge salad, and the like. And then smack dab in the middle, all your cuts. A steakhouse after all, and this place is called Cut. Interestingly here that the filet mignon is actually more expensive than the New York strip. which I find really, really interesting because the filet mignon is smaller. I guess it's a more prize cut, arguably, but I don't know. Usually the bigger steaks are going to be more expensive, so a bit of a surprise there. That tomahawk, I've definitely seen more pricey than that, but it's still not cheap. It's still $2.45, so maybe on a return visit when the channel's bigger. And then they got some Wagyus, you know, American Wagyu, Australian Wagyu, and I'm tempted to get the rib cap or the porterhouse, but oh, they actually have A5 Japanese Wagyu. Not Kobe beef, but they do have Japanese Wagyu, and I'm sure this is great. But you know what? Let's just go with their cuts, their prime beef cuts, and not so much their Wagyu cuts. Let's judge them by their prime beef. So at the bottom, they have some other items like some salads and some burgers and things that are not exactly steak, but I think we're gonna go with a steak, but let's do this. Because I saw outside, and this is a big reason why I wanted to eat here, they have a really nice looking business lunch menu with a choice of one of the starters, or I'm gonna guess that's a choice. I'm guessing I don't get 3 of them. And then one of the entrees, vegetables, swordfish, but we're here for steak. And I already asked the server and she said that this is a 6-ounce New York strip, not a 12-ounce a la carte. So it does come with fries, so let's go with a 6-ounce New York strip. And maybe we'll do the cheesecake for dessert. And then let's go with the heirloom apple salad. Let's order. Hi, yeah, so I'm gonna go with the business lunch, yep. And I'll do the heirloom apple salad, yep. You said the, yep, that sounds good. Medium rare.
Medium rare?
Yes.
And then for dessert?
Cheesecake. Yeah, even though I'm feeling way better now, still wanted to have the mask on while ordering just in case I'm still contagious, you know? But now let's wait for our food. All right, it looks like a complimentary bread has arrived and it comes with a really small but delicate and cute looking olive oil. So I'm kind of digging this, guys. Let's give it a try. Ooh. And actually, this bread is, I thought it was gonna be more dry. You know, focaccia, I've had plenty of focaccia, but it's like really moist on the inside, almost like a wet sponge. Like I know that might sound really not appetizing, calling food a wet sponge, so maybe that wasn't the right choice of words, but maybe a better example is it's almost like a savory, moist cake, like a sponge cake. Wow, really, really excited for this. I'm guessing that this focaccia is gonna have like a pleasant chew and moistness to it. You know, it's not as chewy, not as squishy as I expected. It still very much tastes like bread, but as stated, it's very, very pillowy and squishy and you know, kind of dense, not just like fluffy, like filled with air, like just pumped full of yeast to make it fluffy. It doesn't really quite resemble like most breads I've had. It's almost more like, if you know this Chinese roll called mantou, it's kind of like that, where it's like a bread roll made with not as much yeast in Chinese cuisine. But honestly, the flavor profile they got going on, the onion flavor in every bite, this super tastes Chinese. This super tastes like something you would get from like a Chinese bakery. I really, really like it. My only complaint is that I find the bottom a little bit too oily, but the texture is great and the flavor is fantastic. I said it was too oily. Let's try doubling down on oil, see if that actually helps. All right, let's see if more oil helps. That olive oil is fantastic. Thank you. All right, looks like the salad is here, but let me finish my thoughts real quick on the olive oil. I just wanted to say, oh yes, 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 please, thank you. That's good enough, thank you. But yeah, just wanted to say that the olive oil tastes really, really, I don't know how to say, like you know extra virgin olive oil? Like this olive oil is like especially extra virgin. Like it tastes like that real stuff from Italy. It's like super virgin olive oil. Like that olive oil can quote every line of every Star Wars movie, you know, that extra virgin. But all joking aside, this is definitely like a legit, real olive oil, like with that fresh, like legit olive flavor. Like apparently how most olive oil, even extra virgin olive oil, tends to be heavily mixed with canola oil, and then actually it's often made elsewhere and then shipped to Italy just to be bottled in Italy so that they can say it's from Italy. But no, this stuff tastes like the real stuff. Fantastic bread. But now Let's try this salad. I think this is the apple salad, and I don't know. It has an interesting look to it. Like if you guys like Dragon Ball Z, it kind of looks like a Super Saiyan's hair or something, especially from this angle here. But it's actually shredded so thin that it kind of also resembles, I keep using Asian examples, but these almost kind of resembles like little bean sprouts or like pieces of potato shaved real thin, which is also common in Chinese food. I can't say I'm necessarily a fan of how the salad looks. I wish the leaves were more intact, but let's give it a try. Or actually, no, I think these are pieces of apple, I'm guessing. All right. You know, it's really refreshing. And yeah, those are apples. Those are thinly shaved pieces of apples, like julienne apples. I may not have been a fan of the appearance at first, but I love the delivery. I mean, taste is all that matters at the end. And I love that these apples were just cut so thin, and the apples as well. Like, they're not super sweet apples, they're like slightly sour. Like, I think they might be like Granny Smith, like green apples, but they're like not sour, like, oh, like, you know, like it's gonna make your face go like they're not sour, like they're gonna make you wince, like, oh, like, you know, they're, they're just sour enough to kind of bring out the fresh taste of the apples and kind of provide like an extra acidic kick to the dish. I'm actually wondering if by cutting them into these thin strips, if that kind of also makes the apples not so sour. You know, like it kind of controls the portion size. Like when you bite into a big green apple, you get that sour reaction because you're not controlling your portion, so to say. But by cutting them thin, you can only take so many bites of apple at a time, so to say. So it makes sure that you don't get too overwhelmed with sourness all at once. I'm enjoying this. This is fantastic, especially when you're recovering from, you know, being sick. This is fantastic. It just tastes healthy and satisfying and also kind of sweet, kind of like you're having your cake and eating it too, like eating something healthy while something sweet, like candy at the same time. This is great. Oh yes, very good, thank you. I spoketh nothing but the truth. Loving this salad, so I'm gonna knock this out and wait for my steak. All right, so our steak frites have arrived. So this is our pretty, very, very large, generous fry portion. So I really, really dig this generous fry portion. But come on, this steak portion is super small. I mean, you would have thought that I ordered the Wagyu with these tiny little squares. In fact, even at the super bougie restaurant Gordon Ramsay, they gave us 2 of these. Come on, Wolfgang Puck, you can do better than that. Let's take a look at the steak though. Looks like it's cooked to a good color. I like the sear that they have across all the edges. Really, really good looking sear if you ask me. I asked for medium rare. The cook looks more or less on point to me. You know, I have a tendency to find things under seasoned, so finishing salt on top is probably gonna help with that. It may be a small portion, but it's cooked well. And unlike at restaurant Gordon Ramsay, where they gave us just 2 of these and they were not seared at all. Look at that, great sear, although it doesn't look like the sear is on both sides. Oh, no, actually it is. They even got a sear on both sides, very impressive. Let's just dig in then. And the knife they gave us as well, I gotta say, very, very heavy on the handle end. The shape of it is kind of interesting. It seems to be sloped a little bit more downward than I would like, but I guess that's more so for aesthetics, I'm guessing. But I like that the weight is very much in the handle. It makes it easier to grip and makes it feel good in your hand. First a bite of the New York strip 6-ounce steak. Wow. It may be a small portion, but I gotta say, that is fantastic. Oh, I mean, the steak pretty much tastes the way it looks. It's cooked perfectly, like the perfect doneness, pretty much melts in your mouth. I don't often like when they pre-slice the steaks for you. I feel like they sometimes lose moisture that way, and I'm paranoid that they're mix and matching less good cuts of steak. But in this case, no. That is a juicy steak, evenly marbled throughout too. You get fatty bites all throughout. Definitely a dry aged steak. You get that complex, you know, like that dry aged, like kind of funky, some people say kind of like blue cheese like flavor. Really, really hard to explain, but you definitely taste a dry aged flavor in there. The seasoning is on point, almost to the point where it almost tastes a little bit too seasoned. Like it's almost a little too salty, but not quite. Like just enough where it really brings out the savoriness, like the umami flavor of the steak. And you know I'm gonna say this, the sear is just perfect. Like you get crunchy bites all throughout on the bottom. Oops, I meant on the bottom and on the top. It's just great texture all throughout. Oh my goodness, this is one of the best steaks I've had in a really long time. Like I love this sear so much. Let's just put this whole butt end in my mouth. Okay, maybe it doesn't look quite as good from that angle for some reason. Okay, that's a little bit better. Nice and seared on the bottom too. Fantastic, fantastic. I gotta say guys, I am of course a little disappointed in the portion. I wish that it were a bigger portion, even though this is a lunch special. I wish it were a bigger portion, but hey, that being said, the quality of the meat itself at least, I can't complain about. Quantity maybe, but not quality. Quality, I think this is pretty much as good as it gets. Wolfgang Puck, man, I know you're a celebrity chef. I know, you know, celebrities like to have you cook for them, and I know you're often invited onto like Hell's Kitchen and food shows and things like that. So for a while, I wasn't sure how legit your recipes were, but I don't know, man. I gotta say, Wolfgang Puck, super impressed. Another good sign too, no steak sauce. They trust the quality of their meat alone. These, I'm guessing, are mostly for the fries, especially since that's ketchup. Speaking of which, let's try the fries. They're thin, like, you know, like julienne, you know, shoestring fries. So let's just grab 2 at a time. Really, really, really good. They're thin, and like the oil of the fries tastes good. I don't know, like the oils have like a nuttiness to them. I'm guessing they're fried in peanut oil or something like that. And not sure if these are cut in-house or if they're just pure frozen fries. They definitely have like that fresh potato taste. Not fresh potato, like they taste like they're from real potatoes as opposed to just, you know, frozen compacted starch at this point. Like you see pieces of the potato skin on them, which lend evidence to the fact that they are coming from whole potatoes. And they're crunchy, yet still starchy on the inside, not too dried out, not too crunchy where they're like cardboardy, not too starchy where it's like a mouthful of mealy mush. Great texture, and I also dig the little seasoning they got on them. Not bad. I know what ketchup tastes like, but I'm not sure what this is, so let's try some of this sauce. Ooh, that is a great sauce. If you know what kind of sauce this is, please let me know in the comments, because I'm always down to learn new stuff. But it's super buttery, super rich, super salty. Maybe a little bit too salty, to be honest, but like it's such a nice buttery, savory, rich sauce. And also, look at this, you know, creamy texture, like the perfect viscosity, so to say. Wow, this is almost like the perfect fry sauce. It's just though, with how rich it tastes, I better go easy on it. I lost some weight abroad, so would rather not reverse the effects too soon. Not too soon, at least. But wow, so far I'm enjoying everything I'm eating here, so gonna keep eating, and yeah, then it's dessert, and I guess that's it. Yeah, the fries are good. Do you know if they're cut in the restaurant? They're cut here? All right, I just asked, and it looks like they're cut in the restaurant. Probably machine cut if they're julienne so thin, but impressive. Okay, thank you. All right, looks like our final course is here. The cheesecake, but it looks bigger than I expected. Maybe it's partially the fruit on the outside, making it look bigger than it is, but I don't know, even from this angle, that's a pretty thick slice of cheesecake, right? I can't say I'm a fan of these random dots though. Like this, what is that, like a caramel pattern? Like a drip pattern or something? I can't say I'm the biggest fan of this. I don't know, it kind of looks like somebody, you know, made a mess all over my plate, like somebody dropped like a ladle or something. It doesn't really look artistic to me, but what do I know? It is time though for the final course. And yeah, overall, I guess this was a pretty good business lunch. I mean, that's what they call their lunch special here, their business lunch. And most people here appear to be here on some sort of business lunch. I'm the only one who opted for the business lunch and then am just eating by myself. So at first I was, you know, feeling slightly self-conscious about that. Like when I saw everyone else was eating with like a client or a business partner, made me feel slightly insecure. But then I realized something. I realized that this is kind of a business lunch as well. It's for the channel after all, and I guess you guys are like my business clients, so I guess I kind of had a business lunch too. Let's take a bite of this cheesecake and call it a review. Look at that. Super smooth cheesecake. Not as dense as I was expecting. It's pretty smooth, which I guess makes sense considering that cream cheese is usually a key ingredient in New York cheesecake. Wow. Bite two. Wow. Wow, that is outstanding. It is just so smooth, and it's like light without being fluffy. Like it looks dense. Like I thought it was gonna be dense from appearance, but like looking at it from the outside, you would think it's gonna be dense like you know the Junior's cheesecake, which, you know, I find slightly overrated. I thought it was gonna be like that, like a denser, more indulgent, decadent cheesecake, and I would have completely been fine with that. But no, despite it looking dense and looking like it's all like cream cheese and thick ingredients, it is just so smooth. Like, let me show you. I'm gonna hold this spoon by the tippy tip with my left hand and just look at how I can just kind of so easily shave off a layer, just like that. It's not like I have to like forcefully, you know, scoop spoonfuls of it. No, this is a super smooth cheesecake. It tastes rich, yet its texture is light. The crust on top is nice as well. I thought the crust on top was gonna taste more like kind of burnt because it kind of looks burnt in some parts of it, but no. You know, it kind of has like almost like a browned taste. I don't know how to explain it. Like the top of like a brownie is what I meant to say. You know, like that crispy, flaky dessert texture. Let's rescue this fallen piece real quick. And actually, while we're at it, this is a good chance to scoop it inside this liquid that I was making fun of earlier for not being super aesthetic. Just, yep, get some more of that sauce and see if that makes a difference, good or bad. It still tastes good, but I personally prefer eating it on its own without that red sauce. I feel like the red sauce is better suited as decoration. And in this, you know, food reviewer's opinion, just in my opinion, not the best decoration, to be honest. But in my opinion, this cheesecake is excellent enough as to not require any sauces or anything on top of it. Like, I'm sure these strawberries are plenty fresh and sweet, but nope, nothing that would distract from the flavor of the cheesecake. I mean, the sauce I find good, but a little sweet and a little like generic strawberry syrup in taste, so to say. Not that it's not bad, but the cheesecake just has such great texture and creaminess and flavor. Don't ruin a good thing, just enjoy the amazing taste of the cake. Wow, fantastic. An excellent end to an excellent business lunch. I guess let's just share my final thoughts. I mean, we ate everything on this lunch menu. And I really did not eat anything I did not like. Everything was a hit for me, and everything stood out in its own way. So I may really like a place called Wolfgang's Steakhouse here in New York City, but this steakhouse opened by the other Wolfgang, you might call him, cut by Wolfgang Puck. It was fantastic. I mean, not just a celebrity chef, at least when it comes to steakhouses, this Wolfgang Puck guy knows what he's doing. So to me, cut by Wolfgang Puck, totally worth it, totally worth the hype. Definitely check it out if you're looking for a business lunch or, like me, just a lunch in general. But anyways, guys, that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Have you been to Cut by Wolfgang Puck before, or any other of Wolfgang Puck's restaurants? I mean, this was the first one I've ever been to. Let me know in the comments because great minds eat alike. And as always, if you like my videos, please like and subscribe. That way you stay up to date whenever I post another video. Definitely not gonna let any of this go to waste. So until next time, I'll see you later.